Hi, comic book fans. Welcome to suddenlycomics.com. It's a Monday night. Allan and I are here for your entertainment and delectation. And this week we are doing underground comics, going underground. Allan and I going underground. So, Allan, what have you dug up from the ground?
So I actually picked up the first one is a series of books. And it's got some amazing artists, some that you should probably, I know that you would probably want to pick up as well. It's a series called Slow Death. And the first you can see it has Richard Corbin art on the first.
Richard Corbin, yeah.
Yeah, it's Richard Corbin and Rand. He's a Canadian artist.
Right. Okay. Nice. I've never heard of it.
And then this is again Richard Corbin.
Hmm.
So Slow Death was again was published from Last Gasp, publisher in the 70s, and they produced a bunch. They released like I think it was like 12 issues or 14 issues. It went fairly long, Slow Death. And they're quite hard to find. This is one of those things that collectors will chase after.
Yeah.
When I was first starting collecting comics, and I got really into Warren, one of the dealers that I worked with to find Warren books, he collected underground comics, and he had a whole market that he would chase. And he created this list of books that were just like the pinnacle of best books to find. Like Zap would be on the list, And the other thing that he was collecting was Slow Death. I almost, he wanted me to go out and find them for him, but I ended up finding them for myself because I thought they were so interesting. So I'm a big fan of Richard Corbin, so I like collecting his artwork. So when I saw that it was Richard Corbin, I was like, oh, I got to keep this. I'm also a fan of Rand. He's, I enjoy his stuff too. Yeah, that's why that's why I collected it. I really like his artwork. I find the styles very interesting. So that's Slow Death.
Slow Death, right. So my first one is it's a UK underground comic. I mentioned them when we were on Alan's channel. Publisher called Cosmic Comics. This was from the same publisher who did Oz magazine, which was a famous magazine in the UK, which had a very famous obscenity trial. But more about that in a minute. So here we go. This is Cosmic Comics.
Oh, nice. More
Robert Crumb, yeah. So this is issue 2. We've got Mr. Natural on the cover here. And it says, Mr. Natural, disguised as a vacuum cleaner salesman, talks to the housewives of America. And he's saying, okay, lady, now let's just say this dirt is your conscious mind.
Wow.
Brilliant, Crumb. I mean, you can tell Crumb a mile away, can't you? It's just fantastic.
Yeah, he has that style, yeah.
So, and this is in really nice condition. Well, it's got, yes, I think that's a publisher tear. So, yeah, really nice. And we've got more Crumb inside and the usual underground comic stuff. So, yeah, we had our own little range of underground comics in the UK in the 1950s, mainly published by this company here, Cosmic Comics. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. So my next,
the publisher of this did Oz magazine. He then went on to become he did porn magazines after this.
Oh, nice.
And he made a fortune
doing porn. That's funny. So yeah, I mean, it's not that much of a stretch between underground comics and porn. There's not that much of a difference. Speaking of, these are not adult, actually. Well, they are adult, but another famous artist from the underground comics movement was Von Bode, and this is Sun Pot.
Yes.
One of the themes that you'll find with underground comics is they will either sex or stuff like that, but also a lot of drug use.
Yeah, a lot of drugs. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is Von Bode, um, and he has his own sort of style, and I'll show you actually a little bit more of his. This is Junk Waffle. It's another really hard to find title by Von Bode that is highly sought after by collectors, actually. Um, so yeah, he has this kind of weird looking character. I don't know if you can see it that well. This
Yeah, I
green guy.
think I've got a couple of Vaughan Bode stuff in the attic. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's one of those ones. There are collectors for underground comics, and they even have their own price guide, like kind of like the Overstreet, but
Yeah.
for underground comics. Um, and yeah, so Von Bode, just a very another artist to look for when you're collecting underground comics.
So
Okay.
the next one I'm going to show has got a bit of history behind it. So as I was saying, a
Mhm.
lot of these comics here that I'm showing, the British Underground comics, a lot were published by the same guy who published Oz magazine in the UK. Now, Oz magazine got into a lot of trouble. I think it was about it was very much an underground magazine. It wasn't a comic; it was a magazine, and it had lots of
Mhm.
famous contributors like Jermaine Greer and people like that, sort of left thinking
Mhm.
intellectuals. Anyway, one issue they handed over to a bunch of 16 and 17-year-olds, and they called it the School Kids Special. Well,
Okay.
these school kids put in the most the you know the most obscene Robert Crumb stuff they could find into the school kids issue. They also printed picture of how should we say it, probably underage girl naked, which would
Mhm.
would just be complete anyway. So they got raided by the police, and under the Obscene Publications Act,
Okay.
and there was a very famous trial at the beginning of the 70s, called the Oz School Kids Issue Obscenity Trial.
Oh
Uh,
wow. Now
oh,
I have to go find this book. Okay.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, 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 yeah. It's hard to find.
Historical. Yeah,
Quite
yeah.
expensive as well. Um, and it's and they won. Okay, so Oz magazine
Mhm.
won. But also, just before that occurred, the guy who was producing Cosmic Comics did a comic called Nasty Tales, which
Okay.
also had fairly pornographic Robert Crumb stuff in it. And
Mhm.
Nasty Tales got raided and taken to court under the Obscene Publications Act as well. Actually,
Mhm.
just before the famous one with the Oz magazine. Uh,
Okay.
and also Nasty Tales won. Um, and they
Mhm.
produced a comic afterwards called
Making fun of the court.
The Trials of Nasty Tales.
Oh wow.
This is all about the court case. Uh,
That's awesome.
So you can see the judge here. You're just a dirty-minded girl. Um,
Well,
these are
and so Americans wouldn't get this, but in Canada we get this. You wear wigs as a
oh yes, this
prosecutor
is a
or,
judge. Yeah,
or as a
in
judge.
England,
Yeah.
judges wear a sort of a gown and they have to put a wig on. Uh,
Hmm.
Dates back to Edwardian times. Well,
Yeah.
that. So yeah, and these are some of the characters involved in the trial. So yeah, this is unfortunately, although both Oz Magazine and Nasty Tales won their court cases, they both came to an end shortly afterwards. Probably
Well,
probably
costs.
the court cost,
Yeah.
even though they won, it was probably a Pyrrhic victory. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Interesting. Interesting. That's a very cool.
that's a rare.
Very cool.
That's rare. You won't find a lot of
Oh
them.
yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, that's awesome. Um, a lot of the underground comics, what they would do is really they would parody other things. Um, some of them would parody, like as I said, Disney and stuff like that. One of the other things that they would do though is, and this is kind of under, it is an underground comic, but it is a later underground comic. This is from the 80s, late 80s. This is Fana, and it's sort of like an adult
Yeah,
Fana or Fauna.
yeah. It's like a Jungle Girl comic.
Yeah, it's basically a parody of a Jungle Girl comic. Bit of a snip slip there, but um, yeah, it's very adult inside. It, so a lot of the underground comics kind of led to the adult comics industry. So that's what this really is. It's kind of going into that more adult side of the underground comics.
Yeah,
But I thought it was a good, representation of what was kind of the weird inspiration for a lot of the underground comics, that it was parody. It was like, a lot of political things or social things that they were making fun of. And they would usually use some kind of mainstream books as their inspiration. And this is kind of in that vein. Maybe not, it's not political or anything like that. It's more on the adult side.
yeah.
It's just, but I just figured I'd give a little bit of that history. So that's Fana, the Jungle Girl. It's not bad, but it's, if you like,
So
adult.
finally, I've just got some more cosmic comics to show you because
Okay, cool.
they sort of are indicative of underground comics. And as you say,
Mhm.
that one of the themes is often drugs. So
Yes.
this is called Dope Fiend Funnies.
Hmm.
On the title, it says "Junkies ate my poodle." How to spot a dope fiend before he spots you? Is your daughter a pusher? Sordid stories to sear the senses. It's a really great.
Nice.
This one is just peculiar. This one is called Ogoth and Ugly Boot. It's an Ace collector's item from
Oh,
Cosmic.
nice.
This is actually pretty rare and actually got a reasonable price against it.
Hmm.
And finally, and not finally, got one more after this. Another one. This one is sort of doing the sort of you know streetwalkers and Sin City, and
Oh, nice.
and then
That looks later. That looks like more like 80s or.
it does look. Actually, these are all the same. These are all 70s because I can
Oh, really?
tell from the pricing. Yeah, and this one's typical of. This is Cosmic Comics called The Firm. Sorry, kids, adults only. And we've got a lecturer's.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, sorry. Oh,
oh,
censor.
too late. Too late. You're gonna get banned from YouTube. Haha.
Yes, thank you, Miss Pratt, but the vacancy has been filled. Yeah, right.
Nice.
There we go. There's some more cosmic comics. Um,
Okay, cool.
so I think that's it for our episode going underground.
Mhm.
Adults only watching, please.
Yeah, exactly.
That's your lot. See you again soon.